Okay, first I want to start by going over the assignment itself and especially talking about that reflection piece, which is going to be so key to your final grade. So I'm going to share my screen. So you've already completed your first draft, so I imagine you already have a draft of your op-ed and your reflection. And you know all of this criteria for the op-ed, but we haven't emphasized too much the reflection component of this assignment. So your reflection is going to be 1 to 2 pages, 250 to 500 words, in which you talk about these 3 questions. It's very important that you address these 3 questions specifically and that you cite evidence from your op-ed to back up your claims about the about each of these questions. So like if you're saying, I'm pitching to the New York Times, I want you to tell me what you did in your writing to tailor your piece to the New York Times and the audience of the New York Times. You can say, I cited this type of source, which the New York Times typically cites, or I elevated my vocabulary to tailor to a more educated and wealthy audience. You can discuss the typical audience for the publication, and I want you to discuss the rhetorical situation for your op-ed, which is the speaker, which is you, the speaker, the purpose of your piece. What action do you want your audience to take as a result of reading this piece? The action could be to donate to a specific cause. It could be to vote in a certain way. It could be to take into consideration and do their own research. And who is your audience? What population are you writing to? So like, for example, if you're writing for BuzzFeed, your audience is probably younger. And I want you to talk about what you did to make your publication appropriate for that audience. So like if you're targeting a younger audience, you could cite instances in your text in which you use slang terms, or instances in your text where you use more of the more everyday speech rather than elevated language. And then I also want you to discuss the rhetorical strategies that you used to address your specific rhetorical situation. So like, do you feel like, what is the style and tone of your piece, and how is that appropriate for your publication and the rhetorical situation that you address? So I want to show you the example of the successful student reflection. And you can read the whole op-ed here as well. This is on Blackboard, but I want to highlight the reflection component. And this reflection has my comments in it. And the student writes, when writing this opinion editorial, I intended for the audience to be written for the Washington Post. I choose the Washington Post to pitch my article to, since I wanted to choose a more conservative publication where the audience would likely go against what I'm arguing. And I wrote, that's a good rationale for choosing that publication. And she goes on to discuss like what type of audience reads the Washington Post, and why her specific topic is important for that audience to understand. And then this reflection is not perfect. It's on the long side, and there is some information that I would have liked the student to have cut out. So any information that's just summarizing your op-ed, you can go ahead and cut out of your reflection. And in this paragraph, she discusses the conventions of the Washington Post. So this demonstrates to me that she's read a lot of opinion editorials on the Washington Post, and she's prepared to discuss the culture of the Washington Post. And that is going to be important in deciding which publication you're going to pitch to. In this paragraph, she discusses the tone of her writing and why that's appropriate for her specific audience. And my comment to her is, this is a great reflection. You do an excellent job being specific and demonstrating the concrete ways in which you targeted both your audience and publication. So that means I'm seeing her drawing in specific references from her op-ed to back up her claims about who the audience is and what publication is appropriate. So I'm looking for you to pull in examples from your op-ed of instances in which you tailored your writing to your rhetorical situation. So you should be citing your op-ed in your reflection. That is my spiel about what I think is important moving into your final drafts. Let's take a look at the timeline. Okay. So today we're having our optional Zoom Q&A, and then you have a discussion post that's due on Tuesday. And your final draft of this essay and your reflection is going to be due on Thursday, October 7th. You're going to submit that through Blackboard, and you can please submit your essay and your reflection in the same submission. So your essay and your reflection can be, your op-ed and your reflection can be one document. It can be two documents. I don't mind, whatever works best for you. Just please submit them in the same submission area. All right. Do you have any questions for me, Ezra?
Not really any general questions, maybe about my own piece since I'm here, but I don't know if it's helpful for everyone now.
Sure, we can go ahead and talk about your own piece. I will go ahead and stop the recording so that this is just like a one-on-one conference.